Hi. So I'm going to do a comparative analysis of four different versions of the Bible. Um, Chapter 53 of Isaiah, speaking about Jesus the Christ, our Messiah. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of the dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray, we have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. That's the King James Version. I'm going to read it in the New English Bible. Who could have believed what we have heard, and to whom has the power of the Lord been revealed? He grew up before the Lord like a young plant, whose roots are in parched ground. He had no beauty, no majesty to draw our eyes, no grace to make us delight in him. His form, disfigured, lost all the likeness of a man. His beauty changed beyond human semblance. He was despised, he shrank from the sight of men, tormented and humbled by suffering. We despised him, we held him of no account, a thing from which men turn away their eyes. Yet on him he bore our sufferings, our torments he endured, while we counted him smitten by God, struck down by disease and misery. But he was pierced for our transgressions, tortured for our iniquities. The chastisement he bore is health for us, and by his scourging we are healed. We had all strayed like sheep, each of us had gone his own way, but the Lord laid upon him the guilt of us all. He was afflicted, he submitted to be struck down, and did not open his mouth. He was led like a sheep to the slaughter, like a ewe that is dumb before the shearers. Without protection, without justice, he was taken away. And who gave a thought to his fate? How he was cut off from the world of living men, stricken to the death for my people's transgression? He was assigned a grave with the wicked, a burial place among the refuse of mankind, though he had done no violence and spoken no word of treachery. Yet the Lord took thought for his tortured servant and healed him who had made himself a sacrifice for sin. So shall he enjoy long life and see his children's children. And in his hand the Lord's cause shall prosper. After all his pains he shall be bathed in light. After his disgrace he shall be fully vindicated. So shall he, my servant, vindicate many, himself bearing the penalty of their guilt. Therefore I will allot him a portion with the great, and he shall share the spoil with the mighty, because he exposed himself to face death and was reckoned among transgressors, because he bore the sin of many and interceded for their transgressions. This is the George Lambs's translation from the Aramaic of the Peshitta. Who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he grew up before him like an infant, and like a root out of the dry ground. He had no form nor comeliness, and when we saw that he had no beauty, we denied him. He is despised and humbled of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and we turned our faces away from him. We despised him, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our sorrows and carried our griefs, but we considered him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was slain for our sins, he was afflicted for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his wounds we are healed. All we like sheep have strayed, we have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the sins of us all. He drew near and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a ewe before her shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who can describe his anguish? For he was cut off out of the land of the living, and some of the evil men of my people struck him. He made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, although he had done no iniquity, neither was there any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to afflict him. He has put him to grief. He laid down his life as an offering for sin, that posterity may see, and his days shall be prolonged, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the reward of the travail of his soul, and be satisfied with the knowledge. He shall justify the righteous, for he is a servant of many, and he shall bear their sins. Therefore I will divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he has poured out his life to death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bore the sins of many, and died the death of transgressors. And the Living Bible, paraphrased. But oh, how few believe it! Who will listen? To whom will God reveal his saving power? In God's eyes, he was like a tender green shoot, sprouting from a root in dry and sterile ground. But in our eyes, there was no attractiveness at all, nothing to make us want him. We despised him and rejected him, a man of sorrows, acquainted with bitterest grief. We turned our backs on him and looked the other way when he went by. He was despised, and we didn't care. Yet it was our grief he bore, our sorrows that weighed him down, and we thought his troubles were a punishment from God for his own sins. But he was wounded and bruised for our sins. He was chastised that we might have peace. He was lashed, and we were healed. We are the ones who strayed away like sheep, we who left God's path to follow our own. Yet God laid on him the guilt and sins of every one of us. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he never said a word. He was brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he stood silent before the ones condemning him. From prison and trial they led him away to his death. But who among the people of that day realized it was their sins that he was dying for he was suffering their punishment? He was buried like a criminal in a rich man's grave, but he had done no wrong and had never spoken an evil word. Yet it was the Lord's good plan to bruise him and fill him with grief. But when his soul had been made an offering for sin, then he shall have a multitude of children, many heirs. He shall live again, and God's program shall prosper in his hands. And when he sees all that is accomplished by the anguish of his soul, he shall be satisfied. And because of what he has experienced, my righteous servant shall make many to be counted righteous before God, for he shall bear all of their sins. Therefore, I will give him the honors of one who is mighty and great, because he has poured out his soul unto death. He was counted as a sinner, and he bore the sins of many, and he pled with God for sinners. However you want to hear it, Jesus suffered for us, so that way we can be counted righteous in the eyes of God, even with all of our sin. Shalom.